Hello, 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 hello. So, yesterday I got a package in the mail. And as I said before, when things come in, I typically holler at the homies and be like, yo, check this out, this, that, and the other. But I'm going to do things a little different now since I have a live streaming set up. So no matter if somebody's watching or not, I'll be able to put this information out there, and you can check it out now. You can check it out later. So, yeah, I didn't promote this or anything. So what I'm just going to do is run through my thoughts about something that just arrived. So, the MPC One is something that I've been looking at for a while. And the last MPC I used was the MPC X. And while they share so many similarities, you know, it's definitely like one is the flagship and one is the sort of intro joint. However, so I got the MPC One in, but when I got it, I was like, well, what the hell? I didn't order the black joint. I ordered the retro. Well, anyway, that's what it is. So I got the MPC Retro here. And what I did is I figured I'd tell y'all a little bit what are my initial thoughts of it. I think this joint looks great in this sort of setup. I heard somebody say, well, yo, so you're paying an extra $100 just for a skin? Well, this ain't a skin. This is a whole colorway. It's like the chassis, the whole body is actually that color plastic. True, it's plastic. But one thing I do dig is the MPC One. I dig the format, the size format, and I've always been a big boy MPC kind of dude, really. So I've had the 5000 for years. I had the 5000, and then I had the MPC X for a long time. I had the Ren as well. I have the MPC 62, and something that's dope about this vintage sort of colorway, this retro colorway. It's dope because it makes the MPC One look like a baby MPC 2000 XL. So, and that joint is all metal and mad more heavy than the MPC One. So I wanted to get on and talk to you all about what I think. So I think it looks good. You know, the pads are smaller, obviously, and I have a joint plan on here. And I got it going through the performer. And this is actually a project that I had from my old MPC 5000. So I just went and loaded some stuff from old MPC 5000, and you know, or was it the Ren? I don't remember what it was, but anyway, it loaded everything. I think it loaded everything. So I got a few joints here, and listen, I just heard these for the first time, and these are from years ago, so don't judge me. See that? Some things may not even have anything on them. Let's go back a couple bits. So you can see that the project loaded up just fine. And I'm in standalone mode. I'm not in hybrid mode, but that's one of the things that I dig about this. I want to stand this up for a second and kind of talk about what's there and what's not there. So we'll drag that back like that. Hope you can see that well enough. So you see you have power cord, ground wire piece. Then you have this link for Ethernet. You have a USB connection, two USB connections, one for host and one for, you know, just regular USB. Your lock. Nobody uses these. If people use these besides at NAMM, maybe that's where they use these, at NAMM. Anyway, then you got MIDI in and out. You have your record volume on the back. You have your two inputs, your two outputs, and your master volume. on the back. Yo, I'm not a fan of this master being back there because I got to reach back there and twist this little knob. That's always a little weird. And then two, I like these right angle cables, and that covers up the, you can't even really see it. That covers up the record volume for the sample record volume. So, you know, for that, I typically set it and forget it. It's not a big deal. The other thing is you have 4 CV and gate on the back of there. But is it 4 CV and gate? Nope. It's 8 CV and gate. Let's get it. All right. But what you need in order to take advantage of the 8 CV and gate are 4 of these cables. So get that a little closer. Will it autofocus? Probably not. My autofocus game is whack. Anyway, so these little cables, it's a splitter, and it'll allow you to take advantage of the CV and gate. So when I put that in there, you now have 2 CV and gate instead of 1. And if you have 4 of these, you double your CV and gate, and that's pretty dope. All right. So, yeah, what I wish it had was 2 USB where I can have like, I don't know, a MIDI over USB instrument plus a thumb drive. I don't think you could put a hard drive in here, but I haven't explored that, so I don't know. So, but at any rate, it would be nice to be able to have a thumb drive or a hard drive in there, as well as a MIDI over USB device connected in there, especially with now these things doing the multi MIDI. That's so important. So I guess I could get a hub and connect that. So that's one of the sort of drawbacks of this being a smaller unit. You can get a hub and connect it, something like the force of the MPC X, if I'm not mistaken about the MPC X, but some about those two is you have 2 USB connections that you can connect back here. This one you don't, and then you have your MIDI in and out. And yo, that's the back of it. The weight, the joint is pretty lightweight. It does not have a battery. I think that's a miss on the MPC One in general, because of the size is just very portable, but it doesn't have a battery. But yo, just take a look at it. The joint looks good. This retro piece was really well done, and it's so much doper than just a skin because it's the actual plastic. And it's all smooth, right? So, yo, for those that don't know, I'm always stocking office supplies. That's a weird thing to say, but I buy stuff like this on Amazon so that I could do things like this. Let's just stand that on its side. Gives me a little bit of a tilt, about 1 inch up. So you put those back there, and now you kind of got a little bit of tilt. All right, so that's the MPC One, and I'm impressed that it loaded my samples. And I'm gonna play something because I feel like it's too much. Let me also kind of talk about a couple other things. If you're familiar with the MPC, then there's nothing different about this from an interface perspective. Not an interface perspective, but the software. This is basically running the same firmware as any other MPC, at least the newer MPCs. MPC Live 1 and 2, MPC One non-retro, and the MPC X. This is all the same software. I think, what is it, 2.0 something or another and above? That's what's in there. And so you get your Q links. If you're used to seeing Q links, you got your Q links, and it's just like the Live where you have 4 banks of Q links, right? And then you have your 8 banks, A, B, C, D, and then E, F, G, H, 8 banks of samples. And so you still get all the same stuff here. Like you get your plugins, you get your key groups, you get your what is the crap? I can't remember it. Let's go here. Hold you know, the audio launch stuff. Anyway, to get your MIDI stuff, your CV stuff. So all of that stuff is there. And that's why I was able to load up. This is actually, yeah, MPC Ren stuff. So this is tracks that I loaded from an MPC Ren, and it just kind of works out. So one of the things that I've done, let's go browse. I went and I took that USB drive on the back of there, and I just loaded it with old projects and old samples. So that stuff loads up without a problem. You can, you know, audition, whatever it is. I got some Beat People kits in here. Be sure to go to beatpeople.com and check those kits out. So yeah, what I got, some kicks and stuff. Right, audition, auto. So that's Dawn of a King kit. That stuff obviously shows up in there without a problem. So here's some of the stuff I was getting to. I'm gonna go back to the main screen. Let's go through some of these whack beats from many, many years ago. And then I'm gonna tell you some of the things that, not that. Pattern. I think it's dope that, you know, your old kits and stuff can load in here. So pardon me for bugging out. So all right, so I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted. So one of the things is, let me show you something. USB over MIDI, connecting a USB device that is connected to a device that you could transfer MIDI through. That's an important thing for me. Doing CV to MIDI or MIDI to CV, I mean, and doing that over USB, that's important. That's why I wish they had two, you know, USB-A connections on the back of it, because I want to be able to keep a hard drive connected with all my crap that's on their sample library and all that stuff I just showed you. And I also want to be able to have a USB MIDI connection to it, but I don't have that. So the alternative would be to get a MIDI hub, and it would read that. So then I could put all of my MIDI devices on there, whether they're storage devices or whether they're instruments, right? So one of the things that I want to be able to do, check this out. I'll show you something. One of the things that I want to be able to do is all of that crap over there on that side of the room. I put it on a video so that I can show you. This is my Modbap tower right here. And this device that I'm showing you that I'm getting close to on the left side right there is called a Poly-N Poly 2. The Poly-N Poly 2 is a MIDI to CV device. So you could plug this into your MPC with a USB cable, and then all of a sudden you have more gates and CV that I can use to program all of that crap over there. Right, the whole tower, because it has voices and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to show you that. I'm gonna remove that, and then I'll show you basically the I don't have anything programmed, but anyway, I guess I can't show you totally, but the idea is what I end up having to do is remove the USB storage device and plug in that device. I'm doing this by looking at the camera. Ooh, boom, there you go. All right, so I plugged in that device to be in the Poly 2. You know, let me just remind you again. So now what I have plugged in here is the Poly-N Poly 2. So not only do I have the ability to have 8 CV just naturally, just natively on the MPC, but I also have this USB to MIDI device here that I can kind of start doing CV with straight out of this device. So that connects me to my Eurorack like as if it's a plug-in, and you literally plug it in with USB. I just wish there was dual USB here so that I could do that. Again, I'm going to remove that. And so that's one of the things. And so I just got a message on the screen here when I unplug this guy, and it says something about your storage device has been removed. Let's see if it's still playing the beats though, right? Because that's loaded into memory. So there's that, right? So you could also just load what you want to load in there. It loads into memory and then connect whatever devices you have. Unless, of course, you have a USB hub. I have a USB hub and a couple other things here, and I haven't tested those. But what's dope here is that now that I have that poly-in joint connected, I can go to preferences, MIDI sync, and let's see if I can zoom in. So now I have the Poly 2 MIDI 1 selected there. And so that basically means that I'm doing a lot of manual stuff, y'all, bear with me. Basically means now I can go to a track, main, all right, so I'm gonna add another track to this. A lot of stuff there. Right, empty track, I'm gonna go zoom in. So I'm making this a MIDI track. The MIDI device I'm going to choose is the Poly 2. And on, okay, I need to turn this up. All right, we got business. What you're hearing is that. Because I have CV cables going from this to the Poly 2 in my big case over there. And because it's going through MIDI to CV, you're hearing an oscillator that's going through CV through the Poly 2. And so that's, just straight out the box, connecting that and being able to get this. And easy enough to record that in. Just anything for purposes. Instant hard now. So yeah, anyway, I won't get too crazy, but I just wanted to speak on that because listen, if the machine has the tools, it doesn't matter how small it is. Now, obviously these pads are smaller. Everything about it is a little smaller, but it's the same size screen as what's in the MPC Live, right? It doesn't have a bunch of other outs and stuff on the back, but what I do have for the outs on the back is these two white cables. That's the input. I have the output of my Apollo 8. Everything in my room, this whole room right here, you see those keyboards to the side there? I'll just play this again so you can kind of. So those keyboards on the left there, the MoKo stuff on that side, everything over there is all connected via MIDI and audio to the center of my console here in the middle. Right in front of where I'm sitting is my Apollo 8. So these two white cables right here that's going into the input of the one is coming out of my Apollo 8. And so I have some stuff routed in there where I can, let me just reset this camera right quick. Pardon me. Let's see. Okay. So what I was saying is everything is routed out of the Apollo 8 to these two wires right here. It's basically 7 and 8. And so I can monitor everything through there. And I can also, just by turning on monitor, right? So when you go into sample, sampler, you have right here, you could turn on monitoring. If I did that, I would get echo because what you're seeing is my voice, right? Anyway, but everything is coming through these white wires. I can monitor automatically through there, boom, and come back to the main screen. And so I can actually mute and solo things on the Apollo, sample audio tracks, do samples and loops, chop up stuff. So anything that I would play that's on that side of the room, can instantly, this becomes the hub. So don't let the size of this joint fool you. This is a powerful machine. No doubt, without question. The MPC One is a powerful machine, and it looks damn good in this colorway. And it's a lot smaller than this. So, man, look at that. I'm going to have to get the wood for that joint too. It looks good. And it gives you that retro vibe. And you could do everything on here that you could do on an MPC-X. Obviously, the MPC-X is going to have 16 of these Q-Link knobs. You have 16 of them. It's just that 4 are physical and the other 12 are virtual until you switch to the bank and you get the next 4 and the next 4 and the next 4. And obviously, I'm running straight out of here into my performer. Right, and that's whack what I just played into there. But the idea here is that if you know your way around an MPC, or even if you don't, you instantly can get this going. Whether no matter how small your project, no matter how small your setup, or no matter how big your setup, this joint is power packed because you can start to utilize USB MIDI devices that transmit MIDI over USB, all right? And you could start to use things like, obviously you can connect it to the computer, and when you connect it to the computer, you can use it in hybrid mode with the MPC software. So it has that with it as well. Not only that, but because of the way MPC or Kai is designing these MPCs, this already has a few plugins in it, even in standalone mode. So you're getting all of this stuff, and they keep raising the price. But you're getting all this stuff. I could have sworn this joint was $5.99 when it came out. Maybe it was $6.99. But as of a couple of months ago, it went up to $7.99. And then this retro one is $8.99 because it's special, right? But only in color. It has nothing extra that the black one doesn't have. So you could just get the black one for $100 less than this one, and you get everything that's in here. But if you're going to do that, be sure to get these cables too. If you have a large enough CV sort of Eurorack setup or devices that take CV, because if you do, then you can get these couple cables and double the amount of CV is in there. That's something that some people don't know. And I want to make sure you know it because, the more you know. Anyway, so, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I just wanted to get on and talk about that. Oh, by the way, you got your SD card and headphones in the front. And I would say if I could add anything to it, I would probably add an extra USB connection on the back. And I would probably add a battery inside. But guess what? I'd be willing to bet that if you search online right now, you probably find somebody that's found some sort of device or some sort of USB battery of some sort that will provide the amount of power that this needs for so many hours. And so if that's important to you, playing outside on the porch or on the beach or whatever, the forest preserve or wherever you want to go do that. You can find out a way to do it. It does not have a battery though. So the MPC Live or Live 2 would be your choice if you want to do that. But for all intents and purposes, this is a banging machine. And I'm glad I got it. And I'll be utilizing it for quite a few things. So yeah, all right, this is what it is.